Hey everybody, welcome to the very first episode of a podcast that we're calling just the Elder Geeks. We've done podcasts in the past, including the Game Club and Elder Geeks, Elder Speak, but now we're just simplifying things and we're the Elder Geeks. The show is going to be broken down, hopefully every episode, into bites under an hour long. First, we'll be chatting about what our families have been playing. Secondly, we're going to move into a segment about what we ourselves as adults, as parents, are playing. And then a third segment to sign us out, we're going to chat amongst each other about the, sort of off-topic things that we don't get to talk about in our daily lives. Things that we would talk about with other adult geeks that we don't always have that chance to do. I'm Randy Asenchuk. I've been doing Elder Geek stuff for almost 10 years now. And tonight, I have Phil Summers with me. Phil, do you want to say hello?
Hi, how are you?
Doing awesome. Phil, do you want to give a little bit of breakdown about you and the things you've done?
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, we did Game Club together a couple of years ago. How long ago do you think that was? About 5 years?
Yeah, we probably started like 5 years ago and then stopped like
Well,
maybe
when
3?
did The Last of Us come out? Because that was probably one of the last games we did, right?
You know what's funny is I'm playing through that right now, but The Last of Us I think was like in 2014, 2015?
Yeah, so wow. All right. So a while ago now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm a designer. I used to do like a whole YouTube thing. That kind of doesn't happen anymore. But I'm still on the internet putting some stuff out there, mainly on Twitter. And, yeah.
Great.
That's it. Yeah.
And then we also have Steve with us. Steve, hello.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Great. Steve, tell us about yourself, what you want to do for your little intro.
There's not much to tell. I was with you guys on Game Club, and Phil and I have podcasted together since back before there was such a thing as an iTunes store. So, aside from that, though, I don't do much these days.
You guys were doing podcasts even like on the Shamoozle days back when.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Long time ago.
Probably started that stuff in, 2008, 2007, somewhere around then.
Long time. So like 10 years now, basically.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, the reason why we're doing this show is because I went on a road trip with my wife, and while we were on the road trip, I was just tired of the radio, and we burned through like our supply of podcasts, and I thought there's no really great adult, parenting gaming podcast out there that I'm aware of, so I figured, hey, why not do it? And so here we are.
All right. So with that said, what are the rules? I'm gonna try not to like curse or anything.
Okay, that's actually a good rule.
Because you said you're in the car, right? So
right.
It's like so you got your kids in your car. So I guess you would like something that you would listen to with them in the car, in front of them. Not so much that they're also listening to it, but just
right, something that you can listen to while they're in the car. Okay. They might tune in, they might not, but something that you and your partner, your wife, your husband, whichever, and you can listen to the show, figure out what games that you might want to play by yourself, what games you might want to play together, or what games you think would be good for the kids to kind of play.
Sure. All right. I think that's good.
Yeah, and I think that's a great rule. No cursing. We used to curse probably too much on former shows, but just got to throw up that rated G filter. So I guess we'll start everything off with games that lately our kids have been playing, and whether or not we like those games, and whether or not we recommend them, et cetera, et cetera. I think one more rule to kind of throw out there, because I've been doing video reviews and video game reviews for so long, I almost don't want to talk about bad games, because it saps so much energy out of you. I'd rather only talk about good games and save people the heartache.
If your kids are playing bad games, then what do you do?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
You failed.
Then you failed as a parent.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Yeah. So I guess let's talk about games, even if we think our kids dislike them. I'm at the point in my life where if I'm playing a game and I don't like it, I don't bother to spend another minute in it. I just turn it off, go on to something different.
I'm very similar. Sometimes it's not even a matter of if it's bad. It might be a good game, but it's not grabbing me, and it's just like, I'm just gonna move on. If I don't feel that need to because when a good game gets you, you're just like, I gotta play this game, and all of a sudden you start scheduling around the game. Like that's when a great game happens,
Yeah.
So I feel like if I don't get that feeling with a longer game, I don't know. I probably won't stick with it.
Agreed.
So.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I think personally, I mean, I'm at the point where like I can't tell you the last time I spent the full amount of money on a game. So with that same mentality in mind, it's like if I'm only getting stuff on Steam sales for $6-7 and I can get an hour out of it, and I'm like, I'm done with this. Then it doesn't feel quite as bad as when you're buying it full price at $60 and that revelation hits you after an hour.
I am fully with you there. It's been a long time since I paid a full price for a game. Oh, one final rule. No names of our children's or wives or anything along those lines, just because their lives are their lives and, they don't...
That's fair.
But I think for the sake of sharing with the audience, we should be open about, like I have 2 kids. I'm a father of 2 kids. My oldest is 6 now, and our youngest is 1.5. So that's my age range, I guess, that I'm representing. Phil, you?
I have twin girls, and they both turned 8 actually over last weekend. Not this one that just passed, but the one before that. So.
Oh, really? Wow!
Yeah.
Happy birthday to them.
Yep. No, thanks.
Nice.
Steve?
Yeah, I have 2 daughters. I have almost 14 and almost 4. I'm a couple weeks away from that. Birthdays are both right around same time, so.
So old.
Yeah, I know, man. I know.
Well, I think among the 3 of us, we have a nice, good, wide, spectrum of kids.
Yep.
Yeah, all interested probably in very different types of games at this point.
Oh, totally.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Either of you want to start off first, talk about what your games are playing, or should I dive right into the pit?
You're the host, and this is the first show. I think you should take this away.
Okay. The game that my son is playing, and that my wife is actually playing with him, is Lego City Undercover. And we bought it recently for the Nintendo Switch. It's developed by TT Fusion. Originally it came out on the Wii U, but very recently it came out on the Switch. And the nice part about the Switch version is it's a cooperative experience versus the Wii U version, which was single player only. And I think a lot of the other versions were single player only.
Is it split screen?
It is split screen.
Okay.
And it works, I want to say, moderately well. I've played a ton of games, and I know Steve is this way, but when I see frame rate drops, it kind of bothers me. But for them, they don't seem to mind. My wife doesn't play too many games. My oldest son, he's 6. He doesn't seem to mind seeing like these frame rate drops.
Could you imagine if your son's playing this game and he's just like, this frame rate's just unacceptable? Like, no.
I think I would cry. I would probably cry.
That's when you went too far.
Tears
That's
of
when
joy.
you went too far.
Tears of pure joy.
Oh, you would cry tears of joy. Oh, wow.
But
my thought would be like, I went too far. I went way too far. There's like a balance and
What have I done? The neat part about Lego City Undercover is it's basically a Grand Theft Auto but set in Lego City, and it's Lego's first it's their own IP as opposed to them doing some licensed product. So it's not them doing Star Wars, it's not them doing Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or Batman or anything else. It's their own stuff. So they're free to do whatever they want. And it's all set in this open world with basically this kind of open world story. And basically that's it. If you've ever played Grand Theft Auto, that's basically what Lego City Undercover is, except for the collecting of bits and building things within the city after you collect enough parts and et cetera, et cetera. It's very funny. I enjoy sitting there watching them play this game. And of course I'm often called in for help.
Oh yeah, of course.
Which I don't mind. But yeah, Lego City Undercover. I think it's a pretty solid game. Again, if you're a graphics aficionado, you might not really love the frame rate drops. And what's interesting is the frame rate drops only happen when you do the 2-player split screen.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah. Single player, like if you're just playing it by yourself, it's smooth as butter.
Here's a question. I doubt you tried it. How does 2-player hold up Switch undocked? Is that like a disaster, or you probably just didn't try it?
We haven't. You know what? No, that's not true. It's the same. It's
Okay,
basically
good.
the same, docked versus undocked. And the sad part about the Switch undocked is that some of the text might be a little bit too small. Like if you're in kind of a crowded or a loud area, it's tough to read some of the text on screen.
Yeah.
And undocked, you kind of have to sit right on the Switch to see what's going on. Versus like we have a bigger television in the living room that everybody can, it's big enough that both people don't have to worry about screen real estate. And what's funny is we just got to test that out because we went on vacation not long ago, and we were in a cabin in the middle of nowhere, and I thought the Switch was perfect because works on battery, something kids can play in the evenings before they wind down, et cetera, et cetera. So there you go. The 1.5-year-old, by the way, doesn't play obviously, but he likes to grab I give him an old PlayStation 3 controller and he pretends to play while it's going on.
Yeah, that's the way to go. When my daughters were real young, I handed them a Super Nintendo controller that I took the innards out of because
nice.
That way they were preserved and I would eventually be able to put them back inside.
The little guy, by the way, he knows. Like, it worked at first, but now when I try to hand him the PS3 controller, he's like, no! And so, yeah, he's picking up quick.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he knows nothing. He knows nothing's happening when he hits the buttons.
Yeah.
It doesn't last long.
Right. But that's it. That's all I got to really say on Lego City Undercover. I do recommend it,
Okay, can I ask you a question about this
absolutely, yeah.
Is it that split screen that they do in the Lego games? I haven't played one in a while, but I remember in the newer ones they started to have this thing where it was like you were both on the same screen, but then when you got away from each other, the screen would kind of like distort in the middle.
Depending on which way one person was versus the other. Like if somebody was going further to the right, the screen would literally flip, and it does not do that in this. This split screen is literally just a straight line down the middle, and then player one has his or her screen, player two has their own screen as well.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure. I was curious.
It's nice.
It's nice, but other times it kind of used to bother me a little bit when I would watch that for a while. It would start to make my eyes hurt. So I was kind of.
I think because that's actually a good point you bring up. I think because we've been burning through a ton of other Lego games as well. We've done Lego Lord of the Rings because he and I read the Lord of the Rings books, and he's a little bit too young to do the movies yet. He's literally too afraid to do the movies. But doing Lego Lord of the Rings was great because he got to see what we read in the books without being, scared. And in that game, you could turn off I guess they call it like dynamic split screen or whatever it is.
Okay.
So you can mandate it to be left side, right side.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
No, I was gonna say the one nice thing about split screen games for the HD era is you really do get a lot more real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like not as terrible as it was back in the CRT days.
Yeah.
Playing like Super Mario Kart. On
that fourth
on like a little tiny, I think we had it was like a 7-inch TV in one of the rooms in our house that we had the Nintendo hooked up to for a while. It was horrible trying to play that.
I will throw out one final nice thing that I do like about Lego City Undercover is that there's no DLC for it. There's nothing additional to buy for it. What we got in the game is exactly what he gets. Anything extra in the game he can unlock automatically all there. And I know he's only 6, but he's already telling me about classmates and such that are playing Fortnite. And and I'm like, oh, I'm not ready for this yet. You're too young for this, and me explaining about microtransactions. I'm good with him just having a game that he can do whatever he wants with. I know that I don't have to worry about him accidentally buying anything or on purpose buying anything or sinisterly buying anything. So, it's a safe go. But yeah, that's that. What about I'm gonna throw the ball at Phil. Phil, what are your kids playing lately?
So this is gonna be like a Minecraft podcast for me because they've been playing Minecraft for Switch since Christmas. I mean, that's like the game. Now we have veered off here and there. Like I bought Kirby. What's it called? Star Allies.
Good game.
Star Allies. I bought that. It is good. But they're not they're not taken to that one. It's usually me that has to say, hey, you guys want to play Kirby? And then, the three of us will play together, or just me and my one daughter that is the main game player. So we've only put a few hours onto that, but I really like that. But they don't, it's funny. So like the one night when we really got into it, I know if I was their age, like the next morning when I woke up, I would have went down there and and I would have played Kirby all day by myself. But it didn't happen. They went right back to Minecraft. They're just addicted to Minecraft. You guys are Switch buddies with me. Did you ever like look at the hours on? Because they play it on my file. You ever look at my hours on there?
No.
So I did some sleuthing the one day. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just going to say, I do see you on there frequently logged in as playing that, and I always just assume it's your daughters. Cause...
Oh, yeah, I've never... Well, I played it like once or twice with them, and I built a couple little things. They thought it was cool. They told me I was a great builder. Yeah, but... so I think on my profile... It's at like 450 hours or something, which is just...
Wow.
Well, the other thing is sometimes it's just left on. Sometimes they just leave it on. They'll walk away for an hour, and, either I'm not home or whatever, and they, no one's stopping them. Or my one daughter plays it undocked a lot, so she'll bring it someplace, like maybe her bed, and it'll just stay up on in the bed. So there are hours like that are on the game. However, then I started to go through other profiles, because I was just like, girls, this is crazy. This is way too much Minecraft. But I also don't want to be the dad that like limits, like that has, the Switch actually does have, like you can power it off after a couple hours when your kids are on it. But I don't want to be that dad,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is a lot of Minecraft. So then I started to go through their accounts. So my one daughter's account, I think she had 100 hours. Then my other daughter's account had like 200 hours. So I'm just like, whoa. We're at like over 600 hours of Minecraft in half a year. I was like, this is crazy. It's like an addiction. Yeah. So that's what I've been dealing with. And I tried to.
I'm not laughing at you. I love that you're like, it's an addiction. What do I do?
It is. I don't know what to do about it. I'm just like, when's it going to stop?
How long have they been playing for, Phil? No, you said since December?
December.
So, what's that leave us at about? A little over 8 months?
Yeah, it's not too bad, I guess.
I'm just speaking from experience because I've been through what you've been through, what you're going through currently. I am a survivor. And it gets better, man. It does get better. Just hang in there.
I tried.
Something else will come along because I went through the same thing, and my daughter was just like, it was just nothing but Minecraft from probably when she was about 6. And so that was 8 years ago until she was about 9 or 10. So It was a good like 3 or 4 years. So and that's an extreme case, but
this is looking pretty extreme.
What's funny is we've got Steve who's on the far side of this, Phil who's in the thick of it, and here before Phil started talking about it, I kept thinking to myself, man, I can't wait till I can start playing Minecraft with my oldest.
Oh, get ready, because you can't wait. But then when that's all there is, so here, all right. So then the other thing is, now on Switch, so they released, I don't know, whatever the Switch version was in December. Mm-hmm. Then a couple weeks ago, they were calling it like a free update, free download. They released like a Minecraft that you could play with like people on Xbox or whatever. It was like this huge update. However, it's actually a completely different version of the game. So it's a free download if you did buy it. But now I have 2 Minecrafts on my Switch. And they don't really like the new one. So
with the new does the new one have like all the licensed stuff like Mario and Luigi and such in it? Or?
So all that stuff's still there. What the new one does, it runs on a new engine. It's a different engine than whatever the Switch one runs on. I think it might actually perform a little better when I saw him playing it, and I think it might have like slightly better lighting. Like for me, I can tell this is like a more polished version of this game. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But they don't see that. They just see that it controls a little different, has the menus are a little different, and that they don't like that because they put like 500 hours onto this one version, so it's like jarring to them. However, the big difference is that it has an online store in there. So maybe it's good that they're not liking that one because that whole shop is just not in the Nintendo Switch version.
Yeah. The old one. That's
Microsoft
making their money back.
Oh, yeah. But I had 2 versions of this game on the Switch, and the one day I was just like, can I delete the new one? And they're like, no, you can't delete that. So I'm trapped with 2 Minecrafts. Plus, we got story mode, so they played story mode, and story mode 2, I think comes out tomorrow for Switch. And
man.
I already told them what birthday money they can get it, so it's coming. So I'm in like a full
You poor guy.
story mode. Oh.
Phil and I are both suffering from the same thing right now, where we are the original owners of our Switches, but they've been conquered by our children. I really want to play Octopath Traveler, but no, it's not happening anytime soon. That's the Switch is definitely my kids' gaming console now.
Yeah, but to move off Minecraft, I don't want to bore anybody with any more Minecraft.
I mean, I know every parent under the sea has probably already played it, but would you recommend it for like other people that would, you know, that are like, should I get Minecraft? Should I just not and try to find something else for them? Or
I mean, it's difficult. I mean, I guess so. But also be prepared for an addiction, because I've thought about this too. Like, they don't really play with toys. Like, they don't get like action fit. Like, you know, when I was a kid, when you guys were a kid, most likely, you know, I would just get figures and play with figures, play with Legos. I was playing with stuff. I noticed when they play Minecraft, because they just go in create mode, or creative mode, whatever it's called, and they play with each other as if they're playing with toys. Now, they fight a lot too, but again, if you're playing with toys, you're probably also fighting.
yeah.
So it's it's almost like it kind of replaced playing with toys in a way.
Yeah, but for $30,
so
they're only making a digital mess versus an actual mess in the living room.
Well, that's true too. So I mean, it's tough to say. So yeah, they're addicted to it, but I don't think it's a total waste of their time. I think they are being a little creative with it. But yeah, it's just a lot. We did take a little break when Splatoon 2 DLC came out, so we bought the Octo expansion, which was unfortunately too hard for my daughter, who's really into Splatoon. But I played that for them, and they loved that. But like I said, it was too hard, so they didn't stick with that one either, and went right back to Minecraft. But I loved it, as you know, I enjoyed playing Splatoon 2.
Cool.
That was in heavy rotation in my house as well this summer.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Very
Yep,
good.
that was the
Did
big
you
one.
play it or not really?
I didn't really play it, no.
All right, let's throw it over to you then. I talked too much.
No.
Minecraft.
I did. I was just agreeing that that's a great game.
All right. Well, take
It's
it away.
your turn
Let's
anyway.
see.
Do it.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're done.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has any questions about Minecraft. We've all
I tell you,
played
it's good.
Minecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's going to be Minecraft every week. Get ready.
You know. Never mind. Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So I mentioned 4-year-old, 14-year-old, and so that's pretty different. 4-year-old doesn't really play anything. Really, she's not really into video games or interested in them. Occasionally, when my older daughter will be playing something like Mario Kart, she'll put it on split screen and put hers in like kiddie mode or whatever, and then she'll just kind of not, sit there and watch the game pretty much. But she just doesn't really have that much interest in it, so I don't really push it on her. But my older daughter, on the other hand, we have Switch, PlayStation 4. She's got a PC in her room. So she pretty much plays everything in the house. And as you guys were mentioning, I'm in the same boat where I have barely seen our Switch in quite a while. But lately, she's been really big into the Splatoon 2 DLC. She played that a lot this summer. And
Did she finish it? Did she get the ending at least?
Yes. Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Yeah.
The ending was great.
Yeah, I actually saw it. Yeah, I was in the room when she finished it and got to see it. Yeah, it was pretty cool. But her main game as of the last few years has been Overwatch, and that's pretty much
awesome
what she plays the most of. So she plays that on PC, and yeah. But lately, she got into a couple games that I was interested that she wanted to play them. So during the Steam sale, she had a bunch of money saved up, and she would give me some cash and I'd go over and gift her a game or whatever over Steam. She wanted to play Subnautica.
Oh yeah, I wanted to play that too.
Yeah, which I
don't even know what that one is. Ooh, I'm out of touch.
It's like an underwater. It's like a PC early access survival game, but it's like all underwater. That's all I know about it.
Okay.
that is basically a survival game. Yeah, you can tell what a good parent I am. I'm like researching the game before I get them for it and everything. I'm like, Subnautica, okay, yeah. I've seen threads on Reddit and NeoGAF about that. Sure, you can get Subnautica. I don't care. No, I'm not quite that hands off, but I knew there was nothing bad in the game, obviously, but I just don't know anything about it. Beyond that, except that the one back to the frame rate thing. I went in her room the one night and she was playing, and I looked at the screen and I was like, oh. What is going on with your graphics settings? And I made her like open up the set. I'm like, look, you need to put it on 1920 by 1080. You need to, I was like, come on, you can slide this one up a little bit. I mean, for God's sakes.
So you are teaching her the frame rates. So
oh yeah, yeah. I've turned her into I'm trying to turn her into a proper snob about all that stuff. But,
okay.
Didn't she? I don't want to I don't want to sidetrack you, but you had mentioned something that your daughter had said about certain kids. They weren't the real gamers at school.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. And if this goes to my wonderful parenting skills, it's all in the fact that I've raised such a snob that now, immediately as soon as Fortnite came out, or as soon as the Battle Royale blew up, this past year, she just was immediately wanted nothing to do with it because all the kids that she classified as like, I guess if we were speaking in like 80s terms, we'd be calling them the jocks or the popular kids or whatever. They're all talking about playing Fortnite, and to her, that's like the worst thing ever.
It's beneath her.
Nothing to do with it. Yeah,
I love that.
Completely ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but at the same time, I'm a little proud of her. She'll be an obnoxious little scenester in a couple of years, so it'll be good.
Good for her.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I like that she plays Splatoon over Fortnite.
Oh yeah, yeah. In fact, we had like a kind of a graduation party here for her back at the beginning of the summer. It was very small. We had about 5 of her friends over, and they all brought their Switches, and I hooked up the Wii U, and they were playing Smash.
Man.
So yeah, we had like it was just like her friends that played games came over, and they just got them pizza and Krispy Kreme donuts, and they just went nuts all day.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, they had a really good time. But the funny thing is about 2/3 of the way through the party, a bunch of the boys all started like switching over to playing Fortnite together.
Buzzkills.
And I could just tell she got, she was not happy about it. I'm trying to choose my words carefully for our audience.
Right,
but,
right.
Yeah, she was not happy about that at all. But I thought it was pretty funny. Especially because they were calling out the same kind of crap that me and my friends would be saying when we were playing PUBG. So I was just listening to them. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, that's good. I guess they're on. At least they're, if you think back 15 years ago or whatever, 10 years ago with the quote unquote Call of Duty kids,
Yeah,
right.
They seem to be pretty far removed from that kind of behavior. At least in my house, anyway. I don't know how they are in their own houses.
Right.
They were on good behavior.
Yeah.
Huh. What about back to Overwatch? Does Overwatch have microtransactions, or is that all?
It does. The only time we've ever done that was she got like a Blizzard card for her birthday one year, and so we used some of that and bought like a big bundle of the crates. It's loot crates.
Yeah.
You just buy them and they pop open, and you get like. It's like 5 things, and it'll be like skins and avatars and special voice lines the characters will say and stuff, emotes, all that kind of crap. And it is what it is. I don't really have a problem with that. I feel like they've been pretty good about giving out free content for that game, supporting it.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other game that you just buy outright right off the top of my head right now that has been supported at that level for such a long time for free. So those little microtransactions, I don't really care about them. But anyway, my original point was that when she got that Blizzard card, we used some money and we bought, I don't know how many of them she got, maybe like 40. And we just sat there and we opened a whole bunch of them, and it was really fun. And then she was like, okay. And then she never wanted to do it again. So
well, that was probably a good way to do it too. Like you bought a card, there was like a set amount, and there was no going beyond that. There was no, just one more.
Yeah.
That's probably a good way to do it.
And we actually didn't even buy the card. She got it for her birthday. So
Right.
And then the disappointment set in of everything that she bought with it. No.
yeah. Well, but the thing is you can also earn those crates just from playing the game as well. Like
Okay.
your character's always leveling up or ranking up, and as that happens, you're earning crates at a lower rate than at the beginning, of course, but you still get them, and you can get them from other like special things that they have in the game. So she's gotten plenty of crap for that game over the years. She's always like taking part. They have like seasonal events and everything. Like right now they have the summer games going on, so they have a game mode that is basically Rocket League, where you play as the one character who's on rollerblades. So you have three players on each team, and they're all playing that character on rollerblades, and you're in this little arena, and you basically have to knock the ball in the net.
Cool.
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know nothing about that game. That's like
Yeah, it's just
out of it.
It's Quake with superpowers.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, it's Team Fortress 2 with superpowers. If you really wanted to go a step further and with the game modes, but it's a great game. They've done a good job with it.
I wish I was better at those games. I'm abysmal at multiplayer shooters, just horrible because they look so fun and I enjoy playing them, but I just get frustrated.
You know, to hop back to Splatoon for a second. What works with that game, and this is based on your thought that you just said, Randy, about being horrible at multiplayer shooters. The cool thing about Splatoon is like you don't actually need to be good at games to be an asset to your team, because, and this is why it's a pretty good game for kids as well, because my daughter's been playing it since the first Splatoon, and the thing that's so cool about it is that the main game in it is a turf war, and it's 3 minutes on the clock, and all you need to do is paint the course. Whoever has more paint on the course wins. So some little kid that maybe they can't shoot somebody, they can just grab the paint roller, and they're still like an asset to the team because they're still just painting everything. So as long as you're out there painting, it doesn't really matter. Like your skill level doesn't matter as much, as long as you have some pretty good people on your team that are still kind of like keeping the other team at bay. But I think that's why that game is really like reached such a wide audience, is because you don't need to be great at shooters to have fun with it.
Cool.
So
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, you might be worth checking out for the kid. I don't know. Splatoon 2. You're looking for a new you're looking for a new Switch game.
Yeah, you know what's funny is we, as far as new Switch games go, we actually got Lego Incredibles just sitting on my shelf. Yeah, we got on like a Prime Day deal for like $20, and so I was
Does he know it's there?
No, you know what's funny? It is literally just sitting on the top of my shelf.
Waiting.
He walked by it like 1,000 times. He hasn't seen it
That's
yet.
great. Yeah, well, it's good because it's like it's waiting in the wings. So it's like as soon as Lego City's done, Incredibles arrives, and you're off to the next game.
I was gonna say we should probably take a break real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the games that we as adults are playing. All right, everybody, welcome back. Now we're going to actually take a turn a little bit here, and we're going to chat about the games that we ourselves are playing versus the games that we're playing with our family. So these are the games that we as adults are playing in the little spare time that we have, because there's not a lot. I'll start us off. In the Steam Summer Sale, picked up Assassin's Creed Origins, which is this big fan favorite game. It came out October 27th, 2017, obviously developed and published by Ubisoft. And
is that the most recent Assassin's Creed?
This is the most recent Assassin's Creed, and
Okay.
even then it came out, almost a year ago now. But everybody really loved it, saying that this was this big rejuvenation of the series, etc., etc. While I don't share that same level of enthusiasm, I still think it's a good game. I think it's one of the better Assassin's Creed games. But in what it does wrong, I feel like they're kind of like big, I don't know, not huge problems, but big enough problems. The game itself is set in an open world, ancient Egypt. The ancient Egypt that they built is absolutely fantastic. I think that if you are just literally interested in ancient Egypt, I think that the game alone is worth buying, because there's even an encyclopedia mode where you don't have to fight anything, where you could just explore Egypt as they've recreated it for the time. And the world they've built is honestly fantastic. The only problem I have with the game, or I should say the biggest problem I have with the game, is actually the story. And spoiler alert: the story is about two warriors, a man and his wife, and they are trying to avenge the death of their son. And basically, you play the role of the male as he goes through this murder checklist to avenge the death of his son. And it starts off interesting, and I thought, oh, they're actually going to go somewhere deep and interesting with this, about maybe about the effects that of losing a child would have on your marriage, or how does somebody move on after a loss like that. But they sort of touch on those subjects, but then just kind of drop it all for just murder fest. Yeah, I really don't know what else to say about it. There's very clear.
Did you finish it?
Say that again. Have I finished it? I did. I did. And
so that's a good sign.
Yeah, it kept me interested all the way to the end.
Does it tie into? Now I don't know anything about Assassin's Creed, but does it tie into like that future stuff?
It does, and that's actually another one of my problems with the game is it tries to tie in with the future stuff, but it does it very lazily, to the point where if you cut out all the future stuff from the game doesn't lose anything at all from it. Versus like the original Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed 2, where if you cut out the future stuff from those, it's like, boy, you're really cutting out some of the most interesting chunks from those games. I wish that
every single one of them's got a future thing.
Every single one. Some of them a little bit more, some of them a little bit less. And this one, it seems like they wanted to try to tie in the future stuff more, but they didn't. They weren't daring enough about it. And I think that's the big problem with this game, is they were super daring with the setting, and they did a great job with the setting. They were daring about making the combat a lot harder than past Assassin's Creed games, because it is harder. Like if you go into an area where the enemies are leveled higher than you, you're going to get your butt kicked.
Does it have good combat?
It does. And what's nice about this, and this is actually one of the greatest things about this game, is you can actually scale your own combat in the game. They give you what they call the Animus control panel or something. So if you wanted the enemies to just like one-shot kill you, you can jack up their offense that much within this control panel. I wish that other games had this level of customizability to it. Like you can make it so that they see you from further away. That's one of the coolest parts about the game. But like I said, they could have been more daring with the storyline, and they could have been more daring with tying it to the future. And it's just so sad, because they did such a good job of revamping the combat and revamping like the environment and making this a big, fully fleshed out open world, and then just kind of flubbed it a little bit on the story. That's my take. I know that it's a big fan favorite. I think it was worth the price that I paid for it. I bought it cheap on Steam. I think it's a good game. Not my favorite Assassin's Creed game, but it was better than I expected. And
is your favorite number 2?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 was.
That's the one I always wanted to play. I always wanted to play that one, and it just never happened.
Yeah, 2 had some really great moments, and they can't seem to replicate that. But
do you think that would be still worth playing today?
2?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, really? Wow. All right.
No, those I tried going back and replaying those. Those old games didn't age well. A lot of those early PlayStation and Xbox 360 games don't age well.
Wow. All right. Okay.
But, yeah. That's my spiel on Assassin's Creed Origins. I wouldn't pay $60 for it. I really wouldn't. I paid I think like $30 for it on the Steam sale.
You wouldn't pay $200 for the mega massive deluxe edition?
Oh my gosh, no, never. Yeah,
Okay.
And on all those deluxe editions, they're always like, oh, you get the Osiris spear. It's all this junk you really don't need, or that you're going to out-level within 20 minutes within the real game anyway. And even if you buy like the side stories in these games, they're never that great anyway. But just get the core game of this, get it on sale. And it's fun. Like I said, if you're interested at all in ancient Egypt, it's fascinating. I learned quite a bit about ancient Egypt that I didn't know. I go to the beach quite a bit, and every time I'm sitting there eating a sandwich, I always think to myself, you know what I learned from Assassin's Creed Origins? I learned that the Egyptians had bad teeth because of how much sand they ate.
That's true?
That's true. That was a fact that I learned in the game.
Well, why were they eating sand? Like by accident?
Because it's just like everywhere. It's like Anakin Skywalker. It gets everywhere.
Jeez. Wow. All right. Wow. I'm about to play Assassin's Creed Origins just for a history lesson.
There you go.
I was gonna say you're also playing Last of Us, right?
I am. I started playing Last of Us, and
wanna
I'm loving it.
Okay, all right.
I am. That game aged perfectly. That is.
Wow.
There are very few games that I say are perfect, but Last of Us is a perfect game.
Wow.
I will say that.
I mean, you're not alone. A lot of people think that.
Steve, you went second last time. You're going first this time. You're going first, second first.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Well, I haven't had a ton of game time lately. Actually, this past weekend I had a lot, but prior to this weekend I've been kind of busy. Anyway, I've kind of been getting back into an old kind of comfortable shoe kind of situation with World of Warcraft's new expansion coming out. So
they're still making expansions for this?
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Yep, big one coming out next week. So I've been kind of getting back into that again, and family's getting into it, my cousins, and hopefully, and this kind of bridges into the what are you playing with your kids, because hopefully my daughter, she seems like she's kind of into it too again. So
she had a period
again. Oh yeah, she's played that a bit over the years. Never too seriously, but I think now she'd probably be more into it, especially if we were able to play together. So that's something on the horizon. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of that, I guess, when I do have time.
Okay, and that's been your go-to. Nothing else.
No, actually, I really haven't played anything else in a while. Back at the beginning of the summer, I got on kind of like a free-to-play kick, where I was bouncing around between a bunch of free-to-play games on PC.
Yeah.
World of Tanks, I like that game a lot. It's super weird with its currencies, and I kind of almost don't recommend it because of that. But if you just jump in and kind of play it and ignore all that stuff and die in 2 seconds, it's still a really cool tank game. I was playing the Realm Royale, which is the battle royale game from the people who made Paladins and Smite.
Paladins.
Oh
is
yeah,
cool. That just came out on Switch.
Yeah. So this is kind of like, this is basically Fortnite without the building, and instead you have different classes, and each class has different abilities and special weapons and stuff like that. So other than that, it's pretty much the same idea.
Cool. I'm a little fascinated at the Warcraft thing. So, I'm going to probably sound like a dummy to whoever. I never played Warcraft, but so this is why I have no knowledge of it. But I'm curious because it's still been going on. So this game is like over 10 years old now?
Oh my gosh,
came
I bet
out
it's like 15.
2004.
So like, have there been like major engine like overhauls through the years? Like how does that work?
Yeah, the game looks. I mean, there's still some areas in the world that they haven't like completely redone, or they redid them like 8 years ago, and they look dated again.
Okay.
So there are areas like that in there, but by and large, they've done a lot of overhauls to the engine. I think that they just started supporting DirectX 12 in this last patch as well, which, just to anyone listening who doesn't know what that means, it means that it has much more modern capabilities with your graphics card, especially if you have like a newer graphics card.
But those games are still meant to run on pretty like low spec machines, though, right?
They've been raising the minimum requirements over the years, kind of along with the whatever the recommended ones.
Yeah.
What do they usually have, like recommended and then minimum?
So if I was on like the most advanced machine from 2006, could I play that game? That's a dead serious question.
Sorry, I have to. No, I have to think about that question for a minute. I have to think
the most
about
advanced machine from 12 years ago.
What would processors have been in 2006? Would that be like a Core 2 Duo?
I don't know. Randy, you would know that.
Or had they
that sounds right
over
to me. Like a Core 2 Duo were running like Windows XP or something.
Yeah, something along those lines. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think you could, Phil. I think at this point, I don't think the game supports anything lower than Windows 7.
Oh, wow. All right.
As well.
So there's not like some dude who's, and you're going to laugh, but I'm positive that this person exists. There's not this dude who's literally just kind of been coasting on some ancient machine from maybe the late 2000s.
There could be somebody who's got something cobbled. I'm sure
Yeah,
there's
there's-
somebody somewhere in the world who has something cobbled
I
together.
want to meet that guy. That's the person I
yeah.
want to meet. I want to.
Well, for a long time, I don't want to get off into like a whole long thing,
No,
but for a long time, Blizzard's been there have been people running unofficial servers, old versions of the game, and I've played on them.
Okay.
I've played on them. You could just download a client, you just go into a text file and change an IP address or something like that, and then you're pretty much you're just off to this unofficial server, which is running Warcraft the way it existed in 2004.
Okay. See,
And that, in theory, could run on
Wow.
on whatever.
Cool.
But Blizzard shut a lot of them down, and now they're rolling out their own version called Warcraft Classic or something like that.
Oh yeah, I
It's
heard of that one. Okay.
Yeah, so they're gonna have they're basically gonna make people pay to play
Okay.
that.
So, I guess I'm fascinated by it because is there another online game like that that's been around that long? Like, have they all been shut down? Like EverQuest? Does EverQuest exist?
EverQuest is still going strong. EverQuest is still going strong. They just released like 3 expansions
Oh,
or something
wow.
like that. Someone was telling me.
Holy
One of the guys I
smokes.
work with. Yeah, and I know a lot of my cousins who are coming back to Warcraft have been playing EverQuest.
Whoa.
I think there's even a version of Ultima Online still floating around
Yep.
out there too.
Whoa, really?
And what's the
Yeah.
other one? The one that used to be a browser-based one. I always forget the name of it.
Ru-
It's like an
RuneScape.
isometric.
Remember RuneScape?
RuneScape. Yeah,
Is that the
RuneScape.
one?
There
Is
you
that the
go.
one you're thinking?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It used to have kind of like an isometric kind of view
Yeah.
down, and I think they've changed that engine several times since the last time I
Yeah,
saw it as well.
I'm pretty certain they released a RuneScape Classic semi-recently because my nephews were real into that when they were kids, and then I don't know, about a year or two ago, I remember them playing like the classic version of it. They were kind of like, for like the nostalgia of it, which is interesting that like for kids they're not kids anymore, but for their age, like RuneScape is the nostalgic game. It's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But
Yeah, and so I guess for my daughter, in a lot of ways, World of Warcraft will be that for her,
Right.
because that's kind of the game she's been playing since, when I kind of introduced. We would play together. Like I'd be downstairs on my PC, she'd be upstairs. We'd both be in like Ventrilo or whatever at the time, and talking.
Ventrilo, oh my gosh.
Well,
Going
this
down
is like
memory
before-
lane here.
Well, this is before like Discord and
Yeah.
all that business. So, yeah, so we would just play together and stuff, and then I noticed like I kind of stopped playing, and she would still log on every now and then, even though
Oh.
she would let her account lapse, and you can play for free up to level 20, so
Oh.
you can have an account that doesn't have an active subscription. So I think she would just log in and level characters to 20, and then just start a new one, and then level that one to 20. She's probably, I don't even know how many level 20s she has, but it's got to be quite a few.
wow. So how much does this expansion cost when this comes out?
Or
Or do you just get it because you already pay a fee for the month?
No, you have to buy the expansions, which that business model is starting to feel a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, I just figure if
Given-
you're paying for this service, you would just get whatever the new thing is on the service.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I mean, why would they change it though?
Right.
I mean, they're not losing really that many people. They have these lulls in between expansions, but they're obviously set to make a ton of money
Yeah.
when this one comes out. I think it's $40. To
Whoa.
answer your original
wow.
question.
All right, that's a little higher.
And
than I
that's
thought.
for the basic edition, and then they always have like a digital collector's edition that's like $60 or $70, and you get a bunch of cosmetic
Okay.
stuff.
So-
And then they have like a physical one that's usually like $100.
You know,
Wow.
I sound exasperated by it, but there are still people out there that World of Warcraft is literally the only game that they played.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh,
and for those guys, that stuff is totally worth it because it's the experience and that's what they love, and more power to them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's cool.
But anyway, I didn't mean to get us off on a whole.
no, I asked all the
crazy-
questions. I think it's
No,
cool that
that's
it's
all
still
good.
around.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those games. It's like people who want to hear about it, and people who don't.
Yeah,
so I feel bad.
their eyes roll in the back of their head. And they're
Yeah,
like, "Oh."
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Hey, man.
So for the foreseeable future, that's probably what I'll be playing. I don't really have much on the horizon that I'm all that interested in.
Cool.
Yeah.
Phil, you're in the hot seat, man. What have you been playing? Have you been playing anything?
Oh man, I'm always playing something. Always playing something. So if it's not something new, I'm playing something old.
Yeah, that's fine, dude. What was the saying we were gonna say about this show? Like, good games never get old, but we sure as hell do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to beat myself there. We sure as heck do.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's true. We are getting older. Yeah, so I've been playing. I just bought Iconoclast for Switch, and I also, well, I'll stick with that one for a second. I was gonna list a couple of games, but yeah. So it's funny, when we used to do Game Club, we had a little list of games that we would have liked to have covered for the show when we were doing it, and Iconoclast was one of those games that had a demo out at the time. I remember when I found it because it was free, obviously because it was a demo, but I remember thinking that it was the whole game. So when I put it on the list, I was like, we're going to play this game. I just thought it was like a small little game. Didn't realize at the time that it was a game that was in development for a few years and it had a long way to go there. So it finally came out. Well, it hit PC, I think back in January. But it finally came to Switch last.
I think the Switch is a good home for it too.
Yeah. So if people don't know, it's a 2D. I don't want to say Metroid game because it's not a Metroid game. It actually reminds me more of. I've only played like one or two of them, but a Shantae game. Did you guys ever play any of those before? With the little genie,
No.
the genie girl with the purple hair.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of reminds me of that, where it's like you have more like. So you have more like looser like level structures that kind of have a Metroidish vibe to them. So it's like you have like kind of a clear stage one, and that's kind of its own little map, and then you move on to another world. It doesn't have a big interlocking map like a Symphony of the Night. You could still get like abilities and go back to that first map or whatever and get something that you couldn't get before, but just that map doesn't lock together like a Metroid game does.
Okay.
But it does have like that exploration aspect to it. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's very PS1 2D style. I'm reluctant to say 16-bit because it's way more advanced than what could have been done like on Super Nintendo or something like that.
Right.
But it's good. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I've been following the developer on Twitter for years. His name's it's Konjak or Cognac. I think it might be Cognac.
I know who you mean. Yeah.
We did cover one of his games on Game Club before. We covered Noito Love 2. Noito Love 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I really like that. So
Yeah, I like that game too.
yeah. So I mean, he worked on this game for 7 years or something just by himself. So when you look at it in that context, it really is just kind of, I mean, it's pretty amazing that someone just sat there and made that thing. Because it's got like really great sprite art, it's got like really good animation. There doesn't seem to be like shortcuts that I would have put on. And like I've never made a game, but I'm thinking like, all right, if I made a game, what are like maybe like some shortcuts that I'm gonna do to save time? All right, well maybe the character animation will be limited, or maybe or I'll limit myself.
Your backgrounds
somewhat.
would scroll like old Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Right. But like no, he just like gave it his all, and it's just. When you look at it that way, it really is pretty crazy. So I'm about 2 hours into that. I really like it so far. It has really great boss fights, plays really nice. It's funny. I don't remember what he thought of Samus Returns, but there's actually a few similarities in there that it's kind of interesting that I don't think he aped from Samus Returns, and I don't think that game stole from him. It's just kind of interesting, some of the ideas. So there's like a slight... I don't know if Samus Return actually does like a slight auto aim. I think you're always just aiming with that stick, but he's got like a slight where you're just like running down a corridor and you just start shooting. Like your character will just kind of, if an enemy's on a ceiling and it's kind of tight, she'll just aim up at the ceiling and shoot the guy at the ceiling. So that way it's very seamless where you can just kind of run and shoot. Metroid Other M actually did that, so maybe that was where he kind of pulled that idea from, where there's this like a slight aiming assist. And then just another thing that Samus Returns did was it had a lot of like pretty intricate puzzles, and then at the end of the puzzle you just kind of unlock this door that's like, okay, you can skip the puzzle now. And this game has a lot of things like that too, where you're kind of going through this little intricate pattern or like a little puzzle to do, When you solve it, you unlock that door. So there's little similarities like that. But yeah, it's really cool. It's like $20. It's on everything other than, I think, Xbox. I think it's on PS4. I think it's on Vita.
Vita.
Yeah.
I love that system still has
I know.
legs.
Yeah, it's crazy. And obviously PC and Switch. So I think that one's worth checking out. Thought my kids would get into that one, but they didn't really seem to care about it as I played it. I don't know. And then the other game I was just playing this weekend, I cranked out Mega Man X5 for PS1.
Oh my gosh!
I know. I went back. So that game, when I originally bought it way back when it came out, I didn't care for it. I thought it was actually kind of garbage. I never finished it.
Now, X5 was the first one where they kind of got away from sprite graphics and did more like 3D modeling, right?
Nope. That would probably be X7.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll keep my mouth quiet then.
No, that's all right. So there's X4 for PS. So I'll give you a quick little history here, the best that I can do off the top of my head here. So X4 was the first like 32-bit one for PlayStation and Saturn. So a little later, 2000 is when X5 came out. So that's still PlayStation. And then, surprisingly, when PS2 was on the market, X6, also PlayStation, also 2D. Then I think there was like a little gap. Then you got X7, and I think there's an X8. Yeah, X7 and 8. They're PlayStation 2 games, 3D. They look awful. I've never played them. I can't.
And they all just, by the way, re-released on like the Mega Man X collections. Those all just came out like within the past month.
Yeah.
So you can get like all the Mega Man X games, but they're in two separate collections.
Yep.
So like 1 through 4 are in Volume 1 and 5 through 8 are in Volume 2.
Yeah.
Sorry, get back to your X.
No, it's fine. So that's actually one of the reasons I started to play this, because I was kind of tempted to pick up those collections, but it's a little bit of a tougher sell with them being split up, because I really only love X1, 2, and 4. So
those are the best ones.
Yeah, so they're all on that first. So I don't even need to worry about the second half of that collection, because I'm just like, well, there's nothing I like on the other half, or at least nothing I'm interested in playing. So that was why I kind of was just like, well, maybe I'm like not giving X5 a fair shake here.
So you played X5. Did it take to you more this time around, or no?
Not really. So all this build up. No, but I don't think it's garbage anymore. So I'll say that. I don't think it's. I tried to put myself in the mindset of 2000, and when I played that game, and I think like that 2D. I like the 2D aesthetic, but like there was something that still just felt like a little low budget with that game, and it still does today, because X4 had like the big animated cutscene, and they're of debatable quality or whatever, but they still had like these animated intros and endings and all that, and it kind of felt like it had a budget, where this kind of goes back to just like these static, something you would have seen out of like an old game, where just like static images and the text underneath of it. So I think maybe from that perspective, when I'm playing that game in 2000 and that kind of stuff's happening, I'm just like, it felt low budget then, and it feels low budget now, but I'm still looking at it like, for a PS1 game, it aged pretty well. I kind of almost forgot I was playing a PS1 game. Because it does, like, the graphics are still really good, and it still feels really good, and it totally could have been like a PS2 game, and I don't think anybody really would have thought anything of it, other than the lack of like voice and all that kind of stuff. But no, it's not that great. Like you're constantly being interrupted by your little helper. She constantly talks to you. You walk into a room. She's like, go down that hole. That's the right way to go. And it's like, okay. Then you go down the hole, and she stops. Okay, you got to hit this, and that's how you can get through here. So it's like, lots of little like.
That's annoying to hear about a Mega Man game.
Yeah, exactly. Because you just want to go, right? And you can't. There's no skip button, so you're just like you're mashing through the text. So I probably spoke a little too much about Mega Man X5 here, but it's okay. It's an okay game. I made it to Sigma. I made it to the final boss. The game was actually a piece of cake before that, and he was super duper hard, and I think I may have fought him for almost an hour. I think the whole game took me like 2 hours to get through, and that's when I said I had enough. So I stopped, and I don't think I'll never play it again. But but I might listen. Yeah, but I might listen to the soundtrack on YouTube. So at least there's that.
There you go.
I think that's a good spot to take another quick break, and then we'll come back and wrap this all up. All right, here we go. We're going to actually wrap up this final episode, but before we go, we're going to have our little...
It's final episode already.
I'm sorry. First episode, final segment. And I don't know. This is going to be our chatting, our open chat. You know, you're at a game night. There's a lull in the conversation. What do you talk to your fellow adult geeks about? I guess I'll go first just to
do it.
To kind of to do it. I almost feel like I owe an explanation a little bit to the people who are listening to this on YouTube or wherever else we go. So I guess I would probably talk about why I stopped or took a break from YouTube for so long.
Can you imagine the thumbs downs that this is going to get?
I don't care. I truly see. That's the thing. I don't care. I feel like that this time away from all of this has given me perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
I truly don't care about the thumbs up, thumbs down. I truly don't.
Yeah.
And at first I had to stop and take a break because our second kid was born. But as I was taking time away, I realized how much I enjoyed my time and not chasing games anymore. Mm-hmm. That whole fashion of buying new games and fashion of playing new games got very tiresome to me. And I found myself really loving playing older games that I thought were good, that I just didn't have the time to go back and replay anymore. Like just the fact that I'm playing Last of Us right now, I would not have had the time to do it before because I had to chase some more new release game that I might not have loved. And I don't know. The time away has given me perspective. We kind of touched on it a little bit in the beginning where I don't think I would ever pay full price for a game anymore. And I don't know if I could even go back to doing reviews and say like, because my old scoring system was worth buy, worth try, don't bother. You know what? I don't think I could ever give anything a worth buy unless it is an absolute perfect game. Because with any game, you wait 6 months and you could probably get it for like 50% off most of the time or more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I guess that's it. The chase of the second kid became a little bit much. I simply just didn't have the time to devote to it anymore, and that's just not fair. And I think that's about it. Plus, now if I sat down and played a game in the afternoon, whereas before I could have probably played a game in the evening and until I went to bed. Now, if I start playing a game now, who knows who's going to walk through my office door at what time in the middle of the night? So I can't be as frivolous about my game time as I used to be able to.
Right. I think.
Go ahead.
One of the points that you brought up just about kind of chasing new releases. This is something that I've actually thought about for the last few years now, especially during like the PS3 era, like towards the end of that. There's definitely like this. It's a tough game. It's like a game inside. It's like a meta game. It's a tough game to play, playing all these new games. And there's this weird mentality with a lot of fans on the internet of video games. It's like if you're not playing the latest and greatest, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not
right. Your discussion's not worth anything.
Yeah, you're not a gamer. You're not. What are you talking about? So. And the other problem with it is just like as a reviewer, for you especially, Randy, like you're chewing through these games, you're playing through them in a week or less, and it's like you're not even enjoying them. So you're just pounding through games, and then you come up with your review, you score it, and then you kind of forget about it. And I see that happen just even when I would hang out on forums a lot. It's like the new game comes out, everybody just plays it in a week. It's the best thing ever. 2 weeks later, the next game comes out. They all play that. Then within a month of that other game before that coming out, that's the worst game ever now. And it's just like this weird...
yeah, that cycle of the greatest game, the game that was the greatest game ever a month ago is now the worst game ever.
And it's this weird cycle, man. And it's It still happens now. I was just reading an article, and now it's been a year, but I was just reading a couple articles like really down on Breath of the Wild. It's like, stop it. Stop.
No,
Stop.
Breath of the Wild is a great game.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Like, stop poop. But yeah, I get you. I just to kind of wrap up my thoughts, and I think you hit the nail right on the head. It was like I needed gaming to be a relaxing thing for me once again, especially with the second kid. And with reviewing, it was you either rushed through a game that you enjoyed but couldn't really savor, or you had to rush through a bad game, and that in itself was a chore. And both of those scenarios was not relaxing anymore. Mm-hmm. And so I had to step aside. But that's that. And you know what? This show, I'm looking forward to doing this show. I think that this is a good outlet because good games are good games forever.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah. All right, let's go to Phil. What would you chat about if you had if you were at a game night, conversation comes to a stop, and you decide to break the ice?
So I've been reading Ready Player One.
I love the just the disdain in your voice and
all right, so
the despair.
Yeah, so I don't want to make fun of it too much yet, but because I'm like 100 pages into this book. So I know it's like the butt of all the internet jokes is Ready Player One. Ready Player One's so dumb, it's so stupid. I've read like excerpts from it that people put on Twitter, like, can you believe this is actually in a book? So I kind of know what I was getting into. However, I watched the movie, and I don't know, maybe I'm some kind of idiot, but I loved that movie. I was just like, it was so fun. Like I just had a lot of fun with it. I took the kids to it. They loved it.
How dare you enjoy something?
I know, yeah, it was so fun. Like, and it's pretty, like, it's kind of dumb. Like, there's some dumbness to it. Like, I'm totally aware of that. But I just thought, like, it's such a like fun, watchable movie. It's the kind of movie that I could just put on in the background and leave on, and maybe I'm cleaning or doing dishes, and like a good part comes on, you sit down, and it's like just a fun, like kind of just a classic action adventure type movie. So I thought, well, I really like this movie. Maybe I'll give the book a chance, see what I think of this thing. And it's not great. It's definitely not great. But I do like ideas in it. Like, there's stuff I do still like about it. And it's a pretty easy read. Like there are points where I hit the end of the chapter and I'm like, oh, I'm going to keep going a little bit. So like it is. I don't know. It's.
You're still turning the pages.
Yeah,
so it's
exactly.
Doing something
yeah,
right.
like I know it's just complete filth, but yeah, I'm still going. And
Fantastic.
So maybe when I finish the book, I'll give you guys my final verdict on that one. But
I love it.
Yeah,
that's
where I am.
Steve, what about you? Game night. Somebody ate all the guac and. You want to break the
they
ice?
ate it all of it?
All the guac. All the guac's gone. The hummus is
God.
gone. All that's left are a couple of celery sticks.
Well, it's funny. I just Phil stole mine. No, I'm just kidding.
Are you reading Ready Player One too?
No, but I did watch the movie last weekend, and I had read the book years ago, but I don't want to talk about it. So, I just went to Disney World. That was fun. That's what I would talk about.
What was how is Disney now that they've acquired Star Wars? Is it Star Warsier than it was before?
Yeah, it's definitely Star Warsier there. They're building a whole Star Wars land in the Hollywood Studios park with a big Millennium Falcon you can go on, and rides and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Okay.
So my wife and I are both fans of Harry Potter, and our 14-year-old is a huge fan of Harry Potter, and even our little one, she's kind of into it too.
Cool.
So anyway, we decided we're going to carve out a day. We're going to go to Universal and check out all the Harry Potter stuff. So first of all, if you're only going to go for one day, I would say don't do that because it's expensive. For what you kind of have to pay just to get like a family of 4 in there for one day for 2 parks to do the park hopper thing. I would say in the future we'd like to go back and do it again, but we would stay longer, like do like 3 days or whatever there instead.
Oh, so you're saying that one day wasn't enough for Harry Potter?
No, we did all the stuff. I'm just saying it was very expensive to get in
Ah.
there for one single day for both parks.
Gotcha.
Like compared to staying, like if you do like a vacation package there and you stay for like 3 or 4 days or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it's much more cost efficient than what we spent to get in there for one day. Not really the point of my story though. I'm not really sure why I went down that tangent. Sorry. um, the what I wanted to say was just that we were really blown away by Universal and had a really good time there, and are actually planning to go back there and do what I just said and stay for a more extended period where we actually probably would not go to Disney and just go to Universal, which would be a big first in our family.
Wow.
That's
For
awesome.
going down there. But we were really blown away by the Harry Potter stuff. If you ever get the chance to go do that, and your kids are into it, and Phil, I know for sure that you're a big fan. You will be blown away. It is really cool.
Yeah, I'd like to
Cool.
do it. I would definitely like to
Like
check it.
I was a bit of a snob in the past. I always kind of looked down at Universal a little bit
Mhm.
because we were like so Disney, like just Disney.
Yeah.
So to go there, I was really impressed. I mean, the stuff they did with the Harry Potter rides and just that the theming of those areas is like on par or even surpasses Disney in some ways.
Wow.
So that would be something I would recommend if you're into Harry Potter and you haven't gotten to go to that yet and you're going down there anyway. If you could carve out a couple days,
That's fantastic.
you'll have a great time. They have two parks. Gringotts is in one, and Hogwarts is in the other. Gringotts is within Diagon Alley, sorry. And then the Hogwarts Express connects the two locations. And they've actually got like London built out. So you go through like the hole in the brick wall, and you come out and you're in Diagon Alley and everything. And Gringotts is like up the street. It's really cool.
Sounds
It's
awesome.
really like I mean, obviously they spent a lot of money on it, but
Spared
just
no
the production
expense.
value, like nothing looks cheap. Everything like what's that?
They spared no expense.
They did not spare any expense at all, but nothing looks cheap. Like the costumes and everything. Like we did, they have this one. You can go buy your kid their wand at Ollivander's, and you go in. and You actually go through like a little show first, where like a guy comes out and he like picks someone from the audience and has them like test out the wands. And that dude was like he was a pretty good actor. He was like he was right on the money. Like, I mean, he was kind of copying the guy who played Ollivander in the movies a little bit, but he wasn't supposed to be him. He was just supposed to be some guy who worked at the store, some other wizard.
That's cool.
Yeah, definitely a really fun place, and the rides were really fun. I can't really decide which one I liked more, actually, the Hogwarts ride or the Gringotts ride. They were both pretty awesome.
I hear that the Gringotts one's the one that seems to be the one people like, I think. Is the Gringotts.
Yeah, that was really fun. It's kind of like a roller coaster, sort of, but not really. Like you're on a track and you're going kind of fast in the dark at times, but it never really feels like you're on a roller coaster.
So is it kind of like, I mean, literally Gringotts in the last movie? Is that the last movie where they go on the little roller coaster?
It's similar. Yeah, it's pretty similar to that.
Okay.
It has its own story.
Oh.
That kind of like it's kind of like a story that's taking place during, I guess maybe like Order of the Phoenix time period, maybe.
Okay.
Or maybe Half-Blood Prince, like around that time period, I think is where it seems to be taking place. But anyway,
Cool.
yeah, that one was pretty cool, and the Hogwarts ride was really fun too. It was like you're like flying in a Quidditch game and stuff. And they mix like the big screens,
Yeah.
that you kind of fly up in front of like a giant screen with like practical stuff as well, and there's like Dementors and stuff
cool.
like that on the ride. It's pretty neat.
That's awesome. How was the butterbeer?
The butterbeer was pretty good. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really drink soda all that much anymore, but and that's basically just like I guess like a cream soda kind of.
Okay. All right. I would have guessed like butterscotch more than like cream.
It's like a butterscotch cream soda.
Ah.
That's exactly what it is, and it's got like this like thick layer of like a frothy like icing on top.
Oh.
And
Yeah, I just picture like a sugar
it was
bomb.
really hot. It was like I had no idea. I don't think I've ever been to Florida in like late July before, so I was not prepared for how hot it was going to be exactly. I knew it was going to be hot, but when I actually felt it on my skin, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not going to burst into flames. So then I got that butter beer, and man, it was really good. I could drink one right now,
Wow.
actually.
All right.
Yeah, totally.
Butter beer. I'll probably do that trip when that's where they're at Nintendo World, right? Universal.
They are, yeah. That's yeah. I was going to mention that. Yeah, the Nintendo World's supposed to be coming in 2020.
Yeah, that's when I'll do the trip. Nintendo
Mhm.
World.
Nintendo World.
Yeah, that'll get me out there, and then I'll do it all. Do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be worth it. And I think the Star Wars one opens around that time too.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun. If
Cool.
I still like Star Wars though.
That's a story for another time.
Yeah.
I think that's about all the time we've got for tonight. Phil and Steve, thanks for doing this, and hopefully we'll be back within 2 weeks to talk about potentially new games and also Minecraft again.
Oh yeah, for sure. Look for that. I promise. I promise next time. No.
You're gonna be like, play some Kirby.
No.
You have
Well, yeah,
to.
we might play some Kirby, but yeah, I just won't even bring up Minecraft because it's happening. So it's like that's my one story, but nothing's gonna change. Like that's the story.
I will mirror your pledge with Warcraft.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right.
All right, everybody. Have a good night.
All right. You
Yep.
too.
Later.
Bye.